Hi, welcome to the 19th flashback. This is the first episode introducing some of the best romantic films.
Jó napot. Ma korán jött le. Jó étvágyat. Tudom, hogy miért mérges rám. Nem vagyok mérges.
Maria is a strict girl who has recently been hired at a slaughterhouse. Despite not liking much and displaying somewhat autistic behavior, she catches the attention of Andre, the finance manager of the company. However, after their first encounter in the cafeteria, Maria rudely and disrespectfully comments on Andre's physical disability, and overall, they do not have a good initial interaction. In fact, Maria not only struggles to express affection to anyone, but in this case, she also has difficulty making even the simplest human connections. Yet, these two are so similar that, unknowingly, they both dream the same dream of a snowy forest. The director of the film is Ildiko Enyedi, and the film stars Gabor Ambrus and Alexander Borbeli. The runtime is 1 hour and 5 minutes, and the genre is not suitable for a family setting. You cannot watch the film with young children. The film is considered a good choice for general audiences and will also appeal to discerning film enthusiasts. Elizabeth is a young girl traveling around America who meets Jeremy, a young Englishman. To fund her travels, she starts working for him. However, their infatuation does not deter Elizabeth from continuing her journey across America and meeting other people, each with their own romantic and tragic stories. This film is the first American work by Vankar Vey, featuring Jude Law, Norah Jones, Natalie Portman, and Rachel Weisz. The runtime is 1 hour and 35 minutes, and it's a family-friendly film that can be watched in a family setting with children over 13 to 14 years old. I recommend it as a good film for general audiences and even for discerning film enthusiasts. Eli and Nova spend an incredible romantic summer together, but when Eli's wealthy family returns to town and her mother prevents Nova's love letters from reaching her, believing that this poor young man is not a suitable match for her, communication between the two is cut off. Years later, Nova has built his life on his own, while Eli is about to marry a wealthy boy. By pure coincidence, she sees Nova's photo in a newspaper as a successful young man. The director of the film is Nick Cassavetes, son of the great American director John Cassavetes. The film stars Ryan Gosling, Rachel McAdams, James Garner, Sam Shepard, Joan Allen, and also Gina Rowlands, the director's mother. The runtime of the film is 2 hours and 4 minutes. It is a family-friendly film that can be watched with teenagers over 14 or 15 years old, and I can recommend it as a good film for general audiences. A young man lives by staying in the homes of people who are either traveling or not at home. He eats their food, uses their facilities, and even takes selfies with the residents' photos. However, he also tries to repay the homeowners by fixing broken items or washing dirty clothes. During one of his stays, he discovers that the house is not empty. The homeowner's wife, who has a very poor relationship with her husband and is severely hurt by him, is still in the house. As you might guess, an emotional connection develops between the two, and eventually, the husband shows up. The director of the film is Kim Ki-duk, and the film stars Lee Sang-young and Ri Ji-hee. The runtime is 1 hour and 28 minutes, and it does not belong to the family genre. It can be watched with teenagers over 15, 16 years old. I believe this film will be viewed differently by some. Some might consider it very weak, while others may see it as excellent. However, in my opinion, it's a good film with memorable moments. The astonishing story of Amélie Poulain begins even before her birth, starting with the circumstances of her conception. She is born into the small family of Senfari, where her parents have sensitivities and unhealthy quirks, preventing them from properly caring for her. As a result, Amélie is forced to play only with her dolls in her imagination and grows up in solitude. Later, as an adult, she moves to Paris and starts a simple life living as an ordinary person. However, after a particular death, she becomes mentally obsessed and decides to dedicate her life to helping people, or, like Zorro, seeking revenge on those who are bad. At one point in the story, she meets Nino, a simple and ordinary young man like herself, who spends his life on fun and games. Nino collects torn-up photos of people he doesn't even know and creates an album from them. These two, Amélie and Nino, try to make their ordinary lives more exciting with their self-made games. Now that they have met, they are filled with fear and concern about whether they want to share their simple yet exciting lives with each other. Jean-Pierre Jeunet is the director of the film, featuring Audrey Tautou and Mathieu Kassovitz, who is also a good director, along with Jamel Debbouze, Clotilde Mollet, Isabelle Nanty, Dominique Pignon, Yolande Moreau, Urbain Cancelier, and Jacques Nasseri. The film has a runtime of 2 hours and is considered a romantic comedy. In my opinion, this film is an extraordinary masterpiece, and I definitely recommend it to both general audiences and discerning film enthusiasts, as well as those interested in the French language and culture. The story revolves around a businessman and a young journalist in Hong Kong who rent adjacent rooms in a hotel. They often find themselves home alone and realize that their wives are secretly cheating on them and are in a relationship with each other. This situation brings them closer together, but the fear of becoming unfaithful like their wives prevents them from deepening their relationship beyond a certain limit, particularly in a physical sense. The director of the film is Wong Kar-wai, with Maggie Cheung and Tony Leung starring in the film. Mike Galasso composed the music for this film, which I believe is one of the masterpieces of romantic cinema. The film has a runtime of 1 hour and 30 minutes. It doesn't belong to a specific genre, but it can be watched in a family setting with teenagers over 15 or 16 years old. The film is suitable for general audiences and will also appeal to discerning film enthusiasts. A photographer from National Geographic encounters a young married woman named Francesca in the Madison County area while photographing the bridges. Her husband and children are away for a few days for a festival, and Francesca's solitude, combined with Robert's brief presence, leads them to grow closer and develop a romantic relationship. Despite Francesca's satisfying and pleasant life, she forms a brief love affair with Robert outside of her marriage, filled with doubt, questions, and the significant concern of whether Robert is just a passerby, someone who pretends to be in love but has a lover in every corner of the world, or if he has genuinely fallen for Francesca during these few days and can never forget her. Clint Eastwood stars in the film, and Meryl Streep plays the main female role. This film is an adaptation of James Walter's novel of the same name. The film has a runtime of 2 hours and 13 minutes. You can watch it in a family setting with teens 14 plus. I think this film, with leniency, is excellent for general audiences and discerning film enthusiasts.
How do you know?
I mean, how do I know I know?
Because they...
Yes, because they...
How do you know that they're really...
What are you saying? That they fake orgasm?
It's possible.
Get out of here.
Oh. Oh, God. Ooh. Oh, God. Oh. 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 Oh, God. Oh, yeah, right there. Oh. 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 Oh, God. Oh.
Harry and Sally first meet as students and have no common ground regarding friendship between the opposite sexes. Even 5 years later, after experiencing various failures and relationships in their lives, they continue to argue about whether men and women can truly be friends, as well as other issues like sexual matters and intimacy, among many other topics. It seems these two can never reach any specific conclusion together. Interestingly, their close friends meet through these two and marry each other in a short time. Yet, Harry and Sally still believe they don't have much in common. Rob Reiner directs the film, with Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan starring in it. This romantic comedy has a runtime of 1 hour and 35 minutes, making it suitable for families, especially teenagers over 14 or 15 years old. I consider it an excellent choice, appealing to both general audiences and discerning film lovers.
That's the second time this month. Step up here.
What did I do?
Step up here.
What did I do?
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Why? I was just expressing a healthy sexual curiosity.
6-year-old boys don't have girls on their minds.
I did.
After his breakup with Annie, Alvy delves into his memories, recalling the moment he met her at a tennis club, the issues they faced in bed, and his personal problems as a Jew. He reflects on the reasons behind his separation from Annie. Alvy often speaks directly to the camera, sharing his opinions on political and religious matters. Even if we don't share his views, listening to them is still engaging. Directed by Woody Allen, who also plays the main male role, the film features Diane Keaton, Shelley Duvall, Christopher Walken, Tony Roberts, and Carol Kane. The film has a runtime of 1 hour and 33 minutes and can be classified as a family-friendly romantic comedy and satire, suitable for teenagers over 14-15 years old. I recommend it to discerning film lovers and those particularly interested in psychological issues and American culture.
Tell me, is Lola here at all?
Bien sûr qu'elle est là, Lola.
Lola, a dancer living in the coastal city of Nantes, is caught in a relationship with Michel, who abandoned her 7 years ago after she became pregnant. On the other hand, Roland, who met her after the war, has known her for a long time, but they have not yet connected. He tries every possible way to win Lola's heart. Frankie, a former American sailor, is the third heartbroken lover searching for Lola's love. This film, considered one of the lesser-seen works of the French New Wave cinema, is a delightful romance that showcases a complex relationship centered around Lola, the beautiful and attractive girl in the story. Directed by Jacques Demy, the film features Anouk Aimée, Marc Michel, Margot Lyon, Alain Scott, and Jacques Hardin. The film has a runtime of 1 hour and 30 minutes and is categorized as a musical. It can be watched in a family setting with teenagers over 14 or 15 years old. I recommend it for discerning film lovers, especially those interested in French culture, language, and French New Wave cinema, who may not have seen this work yet. This section, Jumping Popcorn, introduces a brief overview of 7 films, with this being the first one. Past Lives, 2023, directed by Celine Song, is a film I cannot recommend. In my opinion, it felt quite weak. Next is Undine, 2020, directed by Christian Petzold, which I also suggest skipping. If you happen to come across this film, it's easily forgettable. 2046, 2004, is another work by Wong Kar-wai, and while it's part of his filmography, it doesn't stand out among his other romantic works. Chungking Express, 1994, another earlier work by Wong Kar-wai, is one that I also think can be skipped. However, if you're aiming to complete Wong Kar-wai's film collection, it might be worth a watch. Love Story, 1970, directed by Arthur Hiller, with its exceptional and nostalgic music, is considered one of the classic romantic films in cinema history. Watching it now remains a meaningful experience. In my opinion, The Quiet Man, 1952, directed by John Ford, won't impress most viewers. While it's a classic romantic comedy starring John Wayne, it's a film that appeals to a very specific audience, particularly classic cinema lovers. Lastly, Casablanca, 1942, directed by Michael Curtis, features Humphrey Bogart, alongside Ingrid Bergman. I personally do not enjoy this film and would not recommend it to the general audience. It's an old film that holds historical significance, but its appeal is mostly to those with an interest in film history. So, friends, this was the first part of our introduction to some of the best romantic films. There's one more part left, with a similar style and about the same number of films. The titles and their release years are listed in the description. I'd be happy to hear about other films you think belong in the romantic category that I didn't mention. Stay healthy, happy, and well until the next flashback.